positivity of the World Cup. The luxury of it being like when you come here, your hotels you're gonna have plenty of space. The
Yep.
cars you rent, you're gonna have plenty of space. And the thing is that positive news is everywhere through the US. I think it's been a really fantastic thing because we've got the 250th of the US on July 4th. Also, I think that brings us all closer together, which is really nice. Hey, the fellow travelers, we're back with the Honest Travel Podcast. Myself, Mark, and Shebs.
Hello, how are you all?
And we're back, and it's been a while because Show's been to about 117 countries. I've only been about 55 countries since last time, but it has been such a fun summer so far with the World Cup, things going on, U.S. travel, international travel, so many great things. So, Shebs, tell them, what have you been up to since last time?
Oh, Mark, it's been a whirlwind. It's been, yeah, as you said, a couple of months, and we really appreciate you guys sticking with us and commenting still on our videos. It's been really good. I've been to a few places. So I went to Lithuania, then I went to Cyprus, then I went to Armenia. I just came back from Armenia.
Oh, nice.
A lot of people don't even know where Armenia is. It's near Georgia. So that was fantastic. And I also went to Switzerland as well. So there's been
Been a
a few
busy boy.
places. Yeah, it's been very busy. The last couple of months, it's been like 4 different destinations and spent a good amount of time there as well. But it is a topic that we'll discuss actually because you've been to so many yourself. We thought we'll cover Europe in another episode because I think it's wise because one of the things we talk about being in the Honest Travel podcast is we get to travel ourselves and then we can give you the honest opinions about these destinations, and we can do this in the next episode. But yeah, you've been to quite a few yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, we were in Spain and Portugal, Andorra, France, Monaco, Italy. Then we traveled around the US quite a bit. And that's what today's topic is about, US travel and the positivity of the World Cup. Because let's be honest, we did do a podcast a few months ago talking about the World Cup and the $150 price for the train tickets and the $1,000 tickets to get in. And there were some things that got adjusted, but the thing was there was that trepidation. And the trepidation you had before Qatar, what they had before Brazil, what you had before Germany, and it all turned out. It's been a fantastic experience for all kinds of people. But Chebs, tell me, like, what's it been like for you when you're not in the US and you're seeing things about the World Cup? What are you seeing about the US when you're over there?
Yeah, it's been really positive. Not just in the UK, by the way. I've been on the road, so Switzerland, Armenia, all those countries that I just mentioned. All it is positivity. I was watching the England game the other day and it was in a bar and it was fantastic. People were cheering, people were getting together. It was a really friendly atmosphere. It's been real positivity coming out of it, which has been fantastic to see because the US tourism, I think we may have talked about it in one of the episodes, had a bit of a hit this year, but I think it's right back up there now and it's really, really helped. And you're the resident of the US, Mark, and you've been traveling quite a bit. So you'd be able to tell us a little bit about what you've seen yourself firsthand, and obviously your family as well. You travel all the time. What you've seen as a family as well.
Well, there's a lot of people that are worried about the World Cup going in because this is one thing we all know. News loves to give like bad news. Like that's what sells, So the scare, the fear, the bad, those kind of things that got people to be kind of worried about it. But once people got here, like that's one thing, like I always say, when you go to the US, Americans really are overly friendly. And you see, that's why people think, oh, it's so fake. That's not how, no, we really are that friendly. We want to know, like, even actually, hey, where are you from? Hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I mean, you saw the stories of the Scottish football team
Oh
in
yeah.
Boston, how they drank the entire, the bars out of beer. Like, and the thing is that positive news is everywhere through the US. I think it's been a really fantastic thing because we've got the 250th of the US on July 4th. And like, if you
Yes.
go around the US, no joke. I mean, whether it's a bottle of ranch dressing, a Coca-Cola, heck, they've come out with all kinds of like special stuff just for the 250th in the US just to celebrate. It's been a fantastic experience for the tourists coming here. But I think for the US, it's been fantastic really showing off the US and the US people. And it's nice getting positive news out there about the US. So it's been an excellent experience for me when we were abroad watching, because we were watching some of the early games when we were in Europe and people were talking to us about things. They kind of got a little bit more excited because their friends were in the US sending back stories about like the people and the food sizes and the portions and everything. I mean, it's just been a really positive, just really a positive vibe that I think everybody really is enjoying.
When I've traveled to the US, those are the things that I've seen when I've traveled to the US. I've had an amazing time going back 15 years ago when I first came to the US, and one of the dreams was going to New York. But everyone that I've seen and the feedback that I've had from colleagues as well. So I know a few people in the media. They've said it's been fantastic. The organization's been second to none as well. The you feel safe as well. There's no worries about, okay, this is what's going to happen. Do I need to worry about this? Do I need to worry about that? None of that as well. So that's been really, really positive as well, which is great to hear. And obviously,
Yeah.
a lot of the matches are from the West Coast to the Midwest
Yeah.
to the East. So if you're traveling, if you're a fan and you've been traveling to all these games, yeah, to actually leave us a comment and tell us what you've seen, what you've heard. Because one of the topics that we covered was that the price of the food and the transportation. From what you've seen, and you've traveled a little bit, so has it spiked up, or has it remained the same, or was it just scaremongering from our media outlets to sort of give it a bit of a negative vibe to it?
There was some of that beginning, like those high prices of hotels and stuff were saying it's kind of a non-entity about the bump that they get in the World Cup because they'd scared enough people off with the high price and stuff. So those actually came down somewhat. We've been traveling around the US the last couple of weeks, and honestly, we've been like by Kansas City and things, and the prices were a little bit higher, but not like triple like it was. So I think the prices got more regulated because they saw people were like, I'm not going to spend that. I'll go stay someplace else. And I think that's made it a lot more affordable. And there's been other things like there's so much blowback, from example, from the train ticket prices and stuff that those kind of came back as well. So there was the fear mongering with the price. It's been a little bit easier, and getting tickets. Still, the $1,000 tickets are still out there, but at least there were, for some games you'd get tickets for a few $100. So it was at least doable versus like what we were looking at before when they had those insane prices. But yeah, no, it was definitely overblown. But seeing it now, people are going and enjoy it, and like the fan zones and stuff, but not just the fan zone, like the official ones. Like I've gone to watch parties to watch U.S. games, Mexico games, Portugal games. So it is kind of cool because where I live, there's a lot of different nationalities. So I can go, oh, where the Mexican fans go, where the Portuguese fan go, the Brazilian fans go. So that's been kind of a fun thing to do, and that's one thing in the U.S. you can find those all over, and it's gotten people really excited. And football, soccer isn't the biggest sport here. Though a lot of people play when they're little kids, that's like the default little kid game. Like every weekend you drive around in the fall and the summer, you'll see like little soccer leagues going around. But just like when kids get to high school, they kind of flow away from it. The women still play, but the boys tend to go out to basketball or football or whatever. But everyone's played it. It's like it's not anymore like explaining people what is soccer.
Well, the funny thing is, we've always heard it on TV or on movies, the soccer mom, as in, yeah, you do the stuff, the soccer mom, and you do it when the kids are young, but then the kids don't necessarily follow up. As some obviously do become professionals and stuff, but not many people do. But it's good to see actually, because one of the things I've seen from it is there's been a really good vibe, and we mentioned that. You always hear the stories about, if you go to the States, this is going to happen. I've never had that experience. So for people who have gone there now and to experience it during this boom period, and there's a lot of good spirit there, what would you think they're going to take away from it when they come back? And just maybe give us a few examples of what they may have done and might do when they go back.
I think one of the biggest things is what I've heard. I've had people tell me this. They've emailed me about this, DM'd us about it, but also like you'll see it in the news. Like people are so surprised about like Americans really are incredibly friendly. Like when the soccer teams are coming to town, and when the fans are there, like the locals like welcome them in. It's like, oh, your country is based in our city. We're going to take you in, so we're going to cheer for your team. And that's one of the really great things is people like they kind of like you go abroad, people make fun of Americans because they always say hi and they're always like talking and stuff. They're so loud. I'm like, yeah, but that's just who we are. And when you're abroad, a lot of people think it's fake. They're like, oh, you're just, it's like, oh, that American service is over. You just want money for the tips. I'm like, well, yes, but also we're really friendly people. And now that they see it in situ, like in the US, they realize, wow, these people really are really nice people. And I think the ramifications for this, the positive effect of tourism in the U.S., how it was go very much down this in the first part of this year and last year. I can see the U.S. getting a boom in tourism from Europe, Asia, other places, international travel coming back because people saw, wow, that was really a fun place. Like people went and had a good time, and they want to try that ranch dressing they saw about on TV and stuff. So. I think that's going to be a really good positive thing. I've actually found really interesting is the social media posts have been mostly about the U.S. and the travelers to the U.S. versus the travelers who went to Canada, the travelers who went to Mexico, because people were like, oh, Canadians, they're nice, and it's kind of this, and Mexico's a fun place. So everyone, it kind of fit with the thing. Hey, we had a good time, nice people, but there's such a different version of what people see and hear about the U.S. abroad, and then they're here, and like, whoa, I have to share this. Like, I got to let you know that it's a different place. And I think that's one of those really nice things. And also, I think that brings us all closer together, which is really nice. So that's a couple things I think I've really seen over the course of the World Cup.
The infrastructure, I remember you sort of jokingly sort of used the air quotes. Yeah, they've done this, they've done that, they've altered their transportation and stuff. Because sometimes they say this and they don't. But would it have a lasting effect in the tourism when it comes to? Because one of the things when I noticed when I came to the States, your train system wasn't the best. But I assume now they've done stuff to that and the transportation for people to travel along. It's made it a lot more easier. Would that be the case?
Well, I think one of the things, a lot of times they have World Cups, like in Brazil and Qatar, like they had to build stadiums, they had to build the infrastructure. In the US, we already have stadiums that hold 80,000 people just for the local football team. Like
That's true.
I live in a college university town, and we have a stadium that holds 60,000 people, and we're just like a normal university. We're not like a big name thing. So like those huge stadiums, we already have them. We're not building
Mm.
anything. Like we had to do stuff to make it hold less people in some of the stadiums, right? And so therefore that infrastructure is already there. But also when you look at things like we have our Super Bowl and to have the Super Bowl or the Final Four for basketball, these big tournaments, the towns that host it have to have a certain number of hotel rooms, these kind of things, which are exactly what you would need for the World Cup. So you're going to Houston, Miami, Los Angeles, New York. We already have all the hotel stuff. It's already there. So what they do with it is the money that they have to spend isn't as much on building the stadiums. It's just more of the let's spruce up the stuff. Let's help out the infrastructure. Let's make the train lines a little bit better. Go a few more stops. There's a few things with it. So it wasn't as revolutionary like when you see the white elephant projects like in Greece with the Olympics a few years
Oh yeah.
ago, how there's just things that are just empty and just grass grown over it. None of that stuff's here because we've already have it there. So that people saw the wait, you already have this kind of infrastructure? Oh yeah, yeah, it's a normal thing. And I think that's been a really kind of eye-opening experience for a lot of people. Now, the long-term impact for Americans for this is one, hey, it's like how I talk about the 94 World Cup. Like that was kind of cool. Like we learned about soccer, we saw these things. This time it's more of a, hey, it's another event we're enjoying together. But it's not like, oh, there's a new stadium. Oh, there's a new train line. Like that kind of stuff, we didn't have as much of that.
Because when I travel to the US, I have been outside of the big cities like LA, New York, obviously because I like to travel. But for people who have never been to the US and they've been to obviously the New York and the LAs and stuff, what's been really great is see highlighting those destinations where people might not ever think about going to. So holding those matches there. Now, what do you think will happen in terms of the people traveling to those destinations instead of just going to New York or just LA?
Yeah, I think you're right. Good point. I think that's one of those things. It's like people have had a great time in Kansas City, Houston. I mean, these are cities that people are never really tough. Even in the U.S., people don't talk about going to Kansas City, but I've been there, and it was a fantastic. They have one of the best art museums in the world, not just in the U.S., in the world. The Atkins Museum that's there, but also the food that's there, the jazz, the music scene, the jazz scene. I mean, it's so cool. But most people think, oh, it's in the middle of the U.S. Nobody cares. There's nothing there. But all of a sudden, people see, wait. That's kind of cool. Let's do that adventure in the middle of the U.S. Let's go to the Northwest. Seattle, the stadium there was great. What if we go to the Northwest? And I think it's nice. It gets people to open their eyes about all the different stuff the U.S. has because that's another thing people have said. It's like I understand why Americans aren't going anywhere because if you want the beaches, you got Florida, California, right? Maine, anywhere you want to go there. Oh, you want mountains? Yeah. What kind of mountains you want? You want the really highs like the Rockies? You want to do hikings like in the Smoky Mountains kind of stuff? And people are like, wait, you really have a lot of those options already here. I think it's been very helpful. The World Cup's been very helpful with all these tourists coming here to understand the American mentality. When you're like, if you live in the UK, it's like, yeah, it's a 30, it's an hour long flight. I'm in
Yeah,
France or I'm in wherever.
that's
In the
true.
US, I have an hour long flight. I'm still in Illinois. It's like going south and going to Chicago down. I mean, and that's the thing is that people start to understand just the entire distance of the U.S., right? And the jokes they had about the U.S., like, oh, you guys can't park, and then they come here, like you realize, oh, yeah, you don't know how to parallel park because you don't parallel park in the U.S. because we have big, huge parking lots and we have big, huge cars and we have big, huge roads. So that's why you start. It really, I think it's been really good for a cultural understanding for a lot of
Yeah.
Europeans and not just Europeans, but that's the one you see on social media a lot. And it seems like, oh, I'm starting to understand the American way of life a little bit better. And I see with these portion sizes why so many Americans look like Mark, right? And so there are those things out there. But it's just been a really great thing. And I think it is going to open up more places around the US. Because, like, for those you don't know, like, Barcelona was not Barcelona before they had the Olympics in '92. After the Olympics put Barcelona on the map for tourism, okay? And a lot of people are like, no, everyone would go to a beach town like Barcelona. Well, Barcelona wasn't a beach town. They built those beaches for the Olympics, and then they made the whole, like, the city kind of like rode that wave. And that's like one of the best examples of using a big event to really promote your city. And now Barcelona is one of the most visited cities in the world. And so by having this kind of stuff, hey, we've done this, it gets people interested. It's planting that seed. Maybe they don't go this year because they saw the World Cup and they think, hey, maybe next year, the year after, we do something like this and we explore more than just New York City. Because for a lot of people, I went to New York, I went to the US, I'm done. It's like I went to London, I saw England, I'm done. No, there's more there, people. Right. And so I think this is nice that they've kind of shown that.
So you hit a point there. It's really vast, the US, and some people don't even have the passports. And you can see why. So people who have never been to the US, and you can understand now why, because there's so much to explore throughout the US. I think in a lifetime, I know a lot of people say, oh, I've been to all 50 states and stuff, but you haven't been to everywhere in that 50 states because it would probably take you a lifetime to do so.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that this is really positive because I absolutely love the US. So whenever I go, everyone's always friendly to me. The highs and how are you? And I always genuinely feel like there's care there. And sometimes you don't get that in Europe. Because when I went to Switzerland, when I went to Armenia, yes, they're very friendly, but they wouldn't necessarily go out their way to say hi, how are you? That's one thing when I go to the US, I love and your hospitality as well, by the way. Hopefully people listening, tell us if you've been to the restaurants, what's the hospitality like? Because Mark, when I've been, the hospitality has been out there. Every time I'm eating, every 10 minutes, is everything okay? Do you need anything else? You don't really get that in Europe.
10 minutes? That's a long time. It should be like 3 to 4 minminutes they ever stop by.
No,
you come top up that Coke? Want some more free ice water? Hey, what free refill? How's everything?
No, but that is one thing that I noticed when I first went to the US. I thought, wow, actually, it is genuine. It's not just what you see on television or in the movie. Yeah.
You
really do get that. So hopefully, people let us know if you have had those experiences. So I think that's one of the things people will probably go away thinking, wow, it is actually genuinely one of the nicest places in the world to travel to.
It is. And that's one thing that's really nice is that when you come to the US, you can fly around, you can drive around. There is limited train and bus stuff, you can do that. But like you can get around. And if you're in the Northwest, the Southeast, the Midwest, anywhere, people are friendly. That's one thing. It's like the food will kind of change in different places. Our accents might be a little bit different, but that friendly Americanism is one of those things that is truly across the US. And I think that's one of the things that people can really take and enjoy when they come here. It's like, wow, everywhere I went, people are really nice. Yeah, that's one of the things that all our differences in the US, it's one thing that stays the same.
What other areas do you think people can capitalize, the cities that can capitalize and give it a bit more of a boom to their area? What do you think are the best places to prosper from this World Cup?
I'll think of one place I think is going to prosper the most isn't actually in the US. I think one place, Scotland, is going to get a huge boost because that is one thing. All of the US, I mean, it was like a daily news thing about Scottish fans in Boston. So I can see those flights from Boston to Edinburgh selling out next year, like that going. Also,
by the way, Cape Verde, or was it we about to say Cape Verde, right?
Yeah, I was about to say Cape Verde. Like that's another one. People, I mean, even on the when they're doing the FIFA stuff, like you guys don't have Cabo Verde in the right place. Like it's not in South America, guys. It's an island over close to Africa, and it's just so like. And sometimes it's the same. People just don't know, and that's what's great about it because they always have. I mean, when I was in Portugal, no joke, it was one of the late night games. And I was like clicking through the TV, and there was literally, I think, 14 channels were talking about the World Cup, and only one had the game on. But the thing is, they're all talking about the other things in the U.S. Oh yeah, I'm here in Kansas City, and I went to the Jazz Museum. I went to the Negro Leagues Baseball Hall of Fame, and like I went to this. They're talking about it. It's like if people don't know these places exist, it never crossed their mind, but now they see it. It's like, hey, why don't we go there? And I think that's one of those things. It's definitely going to open up more of the U.S. Because like Seattle, people knew Seattle back in the 90s because of, it's it was Microsoft, and then Amazon was from there, right? So it's like it's the tech city, right? But now they saw the stadium, like, oh my God, like how loud that stadium gets, how much they cheer for the people. That'd be kind of a cool place to go. And I think that's what you're going to see is the like Texas. I could see getting a big boom because they had the Texas Stadium in Dallas, or the Dallas Stadium, which is in Arlington, and the Houston Stadium, and like people are having a good time there. I could see like an inflow there, but I think it's just going to open up a lot more of the U.S. to travelers and people be putting the U.S. back on their travel itinerary. Because for a long time, the U.S. is one of the biggest places people like to go, and then kind of got like pushed to the side for a bit, made fun of. I'm not going there. And now people are like, hey, they've had a great time, and now like, hey, you know what? Why don't we go? So I could see a boom. I wouldn't say an insane boom, but I could see a boomlet of travelers coming back to the US next year. And a lot of these things, it's like a couple of years. You get a couple of years of like the glow, and then that kind of goes, hey, did we build enough goodwill that they want to come back in later? Because one thing I'll see when I meet people that come to the US as a traveler, they're like, I come all the time. Like they go, you know what? I've gone to California 4 times. I've been to Texas. I mean, they don't go once. They go multiple times.
Multiple times.
And if they have that, if we've gotten people back to thinking about that.
You also hit a really good point about those other destinations, other nations as well, because it might actually help tourism in general worldwide, because it's had a bit of a hit, obviously, with what's happened over the last year or so with people not traveling and stuff. It's had a lean period, obviously, with the pandemic. So the World Cup is actually a great way. Financial side of things, it might actually help, because when I saw the Japanese, and we had an episode on Japan where actually Carmen Roberts spoke about the Japanese will clean up after themselves. We actually saw it in the World Cup where they were actually cleaning up after when the matches they were cleaning up, and they were showing it, and it was all over the news. And it was funny because we covered that during one of our episodes. So it's actually great to see, because it will actually help people. I think people, again, there's always a misconception about, okay, if you go to America, they don't know about different cultures. Actually, they do, and it would have helped people who have come from parts of this world to actually understand them even better. So, wow, actually, these are fantastic people, and we want to come to your country. Invite me. I would love to go. And I think that's the real positivity about it. I think, anyway, in general about this World Cup. And we haven't even finished the World Cup yet either.
That's one thing I like is if you look at some of these places, like the European Cup, like 6 or 8 years ago, or I guess 6 years ago, or 10 years ago, when Iceland did really good and everyone did the one clap, and it really helped Iceland tourism, because people really, people really start talking about it even more. But the thing is now people like, hey, what is Cabo Verde? And they open up their phones, and then you get that array of beautiful pictures, like, wow, look at those beaches. Wow, look at that food. Like, yeah, the Cabo Verde, I say Cabo Verde because they speak Portuguese, and I speak Portuguese, so it's Cabo Verde. But it's like, that helps. But also the other way, like if your team, I mean, you can lose, but if you play with spirit, it's like the Curacao. Like I could see people going to Curacao because, especially Germans, like, yeah, they beat them, but they were so friendly. It was a good game. I could see a number of tourists going to Curacao, in the Caribbean, seeing that. But also vice versa, like when Paraguay went out, and how like versus France, and how there's a lot of really cheap shots and like chipping and stuff. That kind of like left a bad taste in people's mouths. So I could see people say, you know what? I don't want to go to Paraguay because I didn't like what their players did. And that's one of the things that players sometimes don't realize is like, I mean, they do know like you represent your country, but the thing is like Mbappe with his smile kind of stuff, like, I like France a little bit more than I can see. Like he seemed like a nice guy. Like they're not nice guys, but it comes off that way. And that's where it's like, hey, like Cabo Verde is going to get a bump, Curacao is going to get a bump, U.S. is going to get a bump, Paraguay is going to take a hit. And not a lot of tourists go to Paraguay anyway. And it could have been, hey, if it was a good game, even if you lost, hey, lost with respect, maybe it could be planting a seed, like, hey, Argentina trip, and I go to the Foz do Iguazu, which is where, Brazil and Argentina come together, and Paraguay's right there. Maybe people do go over to Ciudad del Este and go pop into Paraguay for a little bit.
I actually did that when I went to that Iguazu Fall. You could take a bus, into literally you could take a bus from the Brazilian side. I think it's the Brazilian side all the way up to Paraguay. And
you can go for boat,
Oh, you can do by boat. Yeah, you can do by boat. Yeah.
Because I've done it a few times. One we just walked over. Another one I took the bus into Brazil and then over into Paraguay. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
You've also hit the nail on the head. That those countries, and obviously places like Paraguay, if they've seen their team behave quite badly, they might, I might not want to go there. But however, in general, from what we've seen, it's been a really positive impact. Not just obviously for the US, Canada, and Mexico as well. They'll reap the rewards of of this World Cup, and it actually falls very nicely, Mark, to because we want to just go. We always finish off with viewers' question because yeah, one of the comments we got on the last episode was our advice on second, third, fourth cities, and this is what Citizen Tao said. Your advice on going to second, third, and fourth tier cities is spot on, Mark. Everyone crowds the bucket list, but I visited Toulouse, Treviso, Western Belgium, and Osaka, Kobe, and I barely heard any English, and I saw everyone there immerse themselves into local culture and daily living. There you go. That's what Citizen Tao said, and that's what hopefully people get out of the States.
And I'll tell you, like on this last trip, we were in two cities that had that exact same. Zaragoza, it's exactly right in between Barcelona and Madrid, and most people just take the train and don't even think about it, and they pass right over it. Fantastic Spanish experience. I mean, I was speaking Spanish the whole time. Like English, they had some English here, but it was like, hey, I really felt like I was in Spain. I wasn't like just a tourist city, And then we're in Aix-en-Provence, kind of by Nice, Marseille, down in the south. Again, it's not a beach town, but it's in the south of France, and all the French we had, the markets and everything, is going to those secondary, tertiary cities. You get to see the culture, the people, and honestly, when it came to tourists, I think we saw like four.
Well, lots of people commented about the slow travel. One thing I would say is because of the fact that the World Cup's been going on for about 6 weeks, you actually, if you are going to be there for 6 weeks, slow travel is a thing. So, and we've had people say, yep, and we will hopefully get to an episode very soon about slow travel. So again, with slow travel, this is where, and you've done slow travel a lot. I've done slow travel, Mark. This will hopefully help people understand a country a bit better. I think this is what we've obviously gone through it a little bit, but hopefully people now can say, oh, actually, if you travel through the US, not just go hit the hotspots and slow travel throughout the country, you get to feel more of the destination, would you not say? And the people and the culture?
For sure, because if you're going, like, it's the other, if you're doing a city every 3 days, right? It's like your first day you get there, you're tired, you've been traveling, you're unpacking, let's grab a bite to eat. Second day, we're going to see the sights. Third day, trying to see all the sights we didn't see already. Then I got to pack when I get back because we leave the next morning. It never gives you that chance to like sit back and go, hey, like, let me enjoy the city because I'm trying to get all the sights. And it's like that checklist kind of thing to hit everything. Did I eat everything I needed to eat? Did I see all the sights I needed to see versus let it kind of play through where you can, instead of making 3 things in a day, you can spread it over 3 days. And I think that's where if you spend like, and it doesn't have to be you stay, slow travel doesn't mean just spending like 6 weeks in one place. It can mean, you know what, we're going to spend 1 week in this town. And it could be, I'm going to spend 1 week. It could be, I'm going to spend 1 week in Paris. Because you know what? You get all the main sites in a weekend. But all of a sudden you got 4 extra days. Then you start to see the other stuff. Then you're going to the grocery store. Then you're sitting in the cafe. Then you're going to that same cafe, that same patisserie in the morning, 3 days in a row. And they recognize you. And you're like, hey, I'm feeling like more of a part of something here. And that's where slow travel can be very nice. And that's why we have friends that they'll rent a cabin. And like up in Michigan, and we didn't talk about nature travel in the U.S. and the slow. You get that cabin up there, you're chilling during the day, you go to the local like mom and pop diner at dinner kind of stuff. You really kind of understand the local people a bit better. It's a fantastic thing.
There's one we should really finish off on, and it's a beautiful one that Aaron and L. Tally has put down here. It's definitely a luxury here in the United States. What would you say to that, Mark?
The luxury of it being like, look, when you come here, your hotels you're going to get, you're going to have plenty of space. The cars you rent, you're going to have plenty of space. People are not going to crowd you. We do not crowd. We like our personal bubble. So you have that space. And so it is a luxury because you get to go around and you need anything. Guess what? You can go shop any time of the day. It'll be right there for you, and you can go and you don't have to spend a lot. I mean, I'll have friends, no joke. I have a friend of mine came from Brazil. They bought literally, I think, everything they saw. Like when they went back, they had 8 suitcases. And they had a driver, and the driver had one of those big American cars, They filled up the trunk. They filled up the back seat. His girlfriend was in the back, and she had a suitcase on her lap, suitcases on the side. He had a suitcase in his lap sitting in the front seat. And they're like, it was just too good to shop. I couldn't stop shopping. And it was just like such a thing. And they had so much fun. They went from Florida to Illinois, and they did nice things. They did the tourism stuff. They did, Disney and things. But then they came to Central Illinois. And because he was an exchange student with our family years ago, and they did like the small town Route 66 stuff, and it was just so fun. And for a tourist, It has anything you want. You want to bring your family? There's always family stuff there, young and old. You want to do outdoor stuff? That's all of it. You do like museums? We've got that too. And that's what's so nice about it is you can do all these different adventures when you're in the U.S. So yeah, you are. It is very much a luxury coming to the U.S. to travel because just you can just do so much.
The weather has been warm, but it is a summer, of course. So there's no. By the way, we've had a heat wave here in the UK, and not just the UK, but all over Europe. It's been hit. The temperatures, I know in Celsius is around about 35, 40 degrees Celsius, but
Yeah, it's like 100 Fahrenheit.
Oh yeah, it's over 100.
Over
so
100 Fahrenheit,
it's actually probably warmer here in Europe than it is actually in the States.
Yeah.
But
And we have air conditioning everywhere, so you're like, it's so funny.
You guys do. The funny thing is here in the UK we don't have any air conditioning, and we've had American people come over and said it actually feels more hotter here because we just don't have the infrastructure because it's never usually this hot. So we're gonna have to start building these infrastructures for the hot weather.
And I think another thing, it's not just the no AC, it's the no air movement. You know, like we have friends in the South of the U.S. that like, hey, they don't have air conditioning because it can get very expensive. So they wait to turn it on, but they have the ceiling fans going. You know, like in our house, like all of our bedrooms have a fan in it, like on the ceiling. So you turn your light on, there's a fan there that it gets the air moving. So even if it's hot, at least the air moves. So that sometimes makes it feel a little bit cooler. Whereas you have no air movement, you're just like, I'm just sitting to my own sweat.
Well, I really appreciate everyone listening and watching this episode. If you've got any comments, please do. Let us know if you've been, what matches you've been to, everything that we've discussed. Have you interacted with people throughout that have come all over the world? What sort of impressions have you had from it? And yeah, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and keep the conversation flowing. And yeah, Mark, any more before we leave that are lovely people here?
I want to say thank you for all your comments. Keep on traveling, having fun doing it, whether you're coming to the U.S. or you're going all around the world. But I will say the World Cup has been a fantastic, it's been a very wonderful experience for the U.S. itself because this summer has been fantastic. People all over the world coming to the U.S., telling how much they've enjoyed their time in the U.S. Us celebrating 250 years of the U.S. Sorry, Chefs, it's...
And one of the topics that we will discuss during our European discussion is, I just mentioned it, the heat wave. People are traveling across to places where it's a bit more cooler. And it's become the word coolcation has all of a sudden been invented. So I think that's a topic that we can cover in the near future. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you're going anywhere. But yeah, Mark, I'll leave it to you to sign us off.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, and hope you'll be with us on our next Honest Travel podcast. Like Shep says, if you have ideas for new content or ideas for new topics you want us to talk about, please do it down in the comments below, and also let us know how your team did in the World Cup. Bye from the library.